I never thought I'd become someone's phase. My name's Marcus. I'm 33, and I own a small but steady custom motorcycle restoration shop on the outskirts of Kansas City. We bring vintage machines back to life, Harleys, old-school Triumphs, and rare Euro bikes from the golden era. It's not flashy work, but it's real. It's mine. I've been doing it since I was a kid with a socket wrench and a dream. Roughly 18 months ago, I met Allison. She was 29, worked in marketing, and we first crossed paths at a local cafe. She noticed the '64 Triumph I had parked outside, a beauty I just restored for a collector, and struck up a conversation. That chat turned into coffee, which turned into dinner, and before long we were a thing. In the beginning, it felt right. She asked questions about my projects, came by the shop to see what I was working on, and even sat through some long engine test runs. I thought she got it. The grease, the grit, the satisfaction of fixing something with your hands. But I started noticing signs that not everyone around her felt the same. Especially her mom. Diane was always civil, never rude. But something about her always felt restrained. She was a CPA, polished, exacting, and she carried this quiet emphasis on professional status. Her dad, Richard, was a little more relaxed. Business-minded and buttoned up, but we could connect over practical stuff, work, local food spots, weekend projects. Eventually, Sunday dinners at their house became a regular thing. Polished cutlery, long-winded debates about economic forecasts and policy, talk about who's up for promotion. I did my best to blend in, but I could feel the gap. Still, I stayed quiet and kept showing up because I thought what Allison and I had was real. Then one Sunday things shifted. We got there around 2. Diane cooked a roast. After dinner, Allison got a FaceTime call from her college roommate, Sabrina. "Come say hi," she called to Diane, and the two of them settled into the living room. Meanwhile, I stayed behind to help Richard clear dishes. As I walked down the hallway to grab my jacket from the closet, I passed close enough to hear Allison's voice. Light, laughing. She said, "Oh, Marcus? Don't worry, Mom. It's just fun. I'd never actually marry a mechanic." And then Diane's voice followed. "Thank God. I was beginning to think you were serious. Can you imagine bringing a grease-stained boyfriend to one of our firm's functions?" I stopped in my tracks. Just froze. From where I stood, I could see them through the doorway. Allison's phone on the table, both of them giggling like it was some harmless joke. But it wasn't harmless to me. It didn't hit like anger. It hit like a puzzle finally snapping into place. I went back into the kitchen, looked Richard in the eye, and said a client had just reached out with an urgent issue. I left through the back door without saying anything else. That night, I didn't blow up. I didn't break down. I sat on my porch, nursing a beer, letting the weight of the truth sink in. She wasn't building something with me. She was passing the time. The next morning, she texted like everything was normal. "Hey babe, you left kinda quick yesterday. Everything okay?" I replied, "Yeah, shop stuff. Sportster rebuild." She didn't ask questions. Maybe she was relieved, or maybe she thought I hadn't heard. I started pulling away quietly. No drama. I moved the tools I kept at her place back to my shop. Took her off my emergency contact list. She didn't notice, at least not right away. Then on Friday, Diane called. "Marcus, honey, I heard you and Allison had a little disagreement. Everything all right?" "There wasn't a disagreement," I told her. "I'm just reevaluating a few things." "Well, are you still coming for dinner this Sunday?" "No, I don't think I will be." "Is something wrong?" "I think you already know." She didn't say much after that. Later that day, Allison showed up at the shop. Her expression was tight. She stood there while I adjusted the carburetor on a rebuild. "We need to talk," she said. Without even looking up, I said, "I heard you on Sunday." She went stiff. "That wasn't what it sounded like." "Then explain it." "I was just trying to make my mom feel better. She's been on my case about settling down and I panicked." "So when you said you'd never marry a mechanic, what did you actually mean?" She hesitated. "I didn't mean it like that." I looked up. "You said it exactly like that." "I love you, Marcus." "No. You love the idea of me. You love the perks. Free bike work, weekend rides, someone who makes you feel edgy. But you don't respect me. She teared up. That's not fair. No, it's honest. Which is more than I've gotten from you. She left in tears. I went back to work. Over the weekend, I got flooded with texts. By Sunday, Diane called again. Marcus, please, whatever happened, can't we talk? You heard what your daughter said. She called me a temporary distraction. A mechanic she'd never marry. She didn't mean it like that. No, she meant it exactly like that. And you agreed with her. Silence. Then, I didn't think you'd heard. I'm sorry. Now you know why I'm done showing up. Allison didn't stop trying. She came by unannounced. Sent long messages. Once she even brought Diane to the shop with her. To my surprise, Diane apologized. Said she hadn't understood what I did until she did some research. Said she was wrong. Even Richard reached out later. Told me he respected how I handled things, and that I was always welcome at their table. But Allison didn't get it. She returned one afternoon holding a small box. I bought a ring, she said. I want to marry you. I looked at it, then at her. You bought yourself an engagement ring? To show I'm serious. I want a real future with you. No, you want to take back what you said. But you can't. I turned away. She left, crying. Now, a month later, the air feels clearer. I went back to her parents' house once, without her, at their invitation. We talked business, books, motorcycles. They saw me differently now. Not as a placeholder or project, but a man with a craft. They even sent a couple clients my way. One had a '69 Triumph that's going to be a gorgeous rebuild. And there's someone new in my life. Eliza. She's a trauma nurse. Drives a restored '81 Honda CX 500. When I told her about the shop, her whole face lit up. She asked if she could stop by and see it sometime. She didn't ask how much I make or what events I attend. She wanted to know what I love about engines. And that, more than anything, is all I ever wanted. Allison thought no one heard her joke. But I did. And I didn't need revenge. I just walked away and let her words do the rest.